G'day guys, Mark from ETFtracker here, and today we're taking a look at some robots. No, not quite those robots, that's Daft Punk there if you didn't already know, but taking a look at robotics ETFs, and there's two main ones that come to mind. The request was for RBTZ, but we'll also take a look a little bit at Robo. So let's get to the ETFtracker app, share my screen here, and we can see here RBTZ, and as per usual, we'll go to full screen. We can see that it tracks the index global robotics and AI thematic, and it's in the equity global sectors. It's got 45 holdings. We see the 6 main tiles here. Let's jump into the holdings, shall we? We can see that the average weight is 2.3% across all of the 45 holdings that it's got. The top 10 make 68% of this ETF, okay? So if we go back, we've also got the description here. So it aims to track the performance of an index before fees and expenses that includes global companies involved in the production or use of robotics and AI products and services. In terms of performance, it had a really good month in August, and that was 9.7%. In fact, that was the best month it's ever had. So will it return that way? It has had some negative performing months as well, so keep an eye out for that. You can always go to the Google Finance page to see how it's done more recently. So it's 9.7% there in that month. If we click on Google Finance, we can see over the last 1 month, so that does jump into August. It's actually been positive as well. So it's up to 16.2, was it 15.2? I don't know. Oh, it's 6.8% up. Okay, so that is interesting. It's going to have another strong month. It looks like we've still got a few days to go in September, but that is pretty good. Okay, so let's go back to it. What we are looking at here is the performance. So let's go back to the main page and we'll take a look at some of the other factors. So net inflows, we can see that it had some strong net inflows in late 2020. It dipped again at the start of the year around April and has been increasing again. What does that look like for FUM? We can see that that has been increasing up to 189 million. All right. Go back and let's take a look at trades. So the trades had looked like it peaked in, what is that? That is the February month of this year. It's dipped again, but it has been hovering around that 2,000 trades a month mark. So there could have been some strong trends as to why it had a lot of trades early this year. But yeah, it is something to look at. It's definitely a lot higher than when it first started. So usually ETFs get a little bit of love at the start and then will settle into a certain kind of level. That was quite low, but then that had increased later on in 2020. So that's interesting. Transaction volume also peaked around that same time that trades did. It's a little bit lower now, but it's at a good level. So the latest month is 747,000 in terms of transaction volume. And in terms of value, nearly 11 million in value in the latest month there. And it's definitely higher this level here than where it was in 2019 when it was first getting started. Okay. And then we take a look at the bid-ask spread on the screen here, and we can see that has been trending down, and that's a good thing. We want to see that going down. Monthly liquidity it had an abnormally high percentage there, which does skew the data a little bit, but in more recent months, it was 5.8%, so it's around that mark there. So that is something interesting to look at as well, and probably want to look at how it compares to its peers. So distribution yield, it does have a little bit of yield here. It has been trending down, but it is much higher than where it was in early 2020, and it costs 0.57% as a management expense ratio. So we mentioned that Robo was one that's interesting as well to look at. It's been around a little bit longer, so nearly double the time, 84 months versus 45. It's returned 61% over that time. The latest month was 4.2%, which is a little bit lower than RBTZ. It's got more inflows into it over time because it has been around longer. It was seeing a lot of outflows throughout 2020 though, but that's turned around. And we can see here transactions, number of trades has been increasing. Bid-ask spread has also been on the way down. Distribution yield's quite similar. It's a little bit more expensive. I think it was 0.57 there for RBTZ. Now we can take a look at these on Google Finance and see how the price looks more recently. And so we've got, this is Robo here. So RBTZ, there we go. The BetaShares Global Robotics and Automation. Let's take a look over 6 months. And we can see here that Beta Shares has been outperforming this other one from ETF Securities. But yeah, so that's just over that time. It's different over longer periods. As you zoom out, you can see some different trends going on there. Okay, so worth a look at. We make it easy by having that all in an ETF tracker here. And then the other thing you can do is you can compare those holdings. So you can look at the ETF Snapshots page to see the holdings there, or you can type in Robo, and we get RBTZ and Robo as well, because underneath these, if you type in Robo, it also looks up not just the ticker, but also the name. So it recognizes that. We can see here that the biggest holding for RBTZ is in Upstart Holdings, 11%, which isn't in Robo. Okay, you can open up all of these nice and quick instead of one by clicking the last expand option here on the table. Some of the names, even though it shares the same ticker, RBTZ has a different security name than Robo when we look at the underlying holdings. And you can see a clear difference here in terms of what the top 10 makes up. So for RBTZ, it's concentrated at that top level at 68%. For Robo, it's only 17%, so worth a look at there. And if we click on the names, we can see RBTZ, 45 holdings, Robo, 84, a little bit of a difference. Combining that with the metrics that we saw on the previous page, these ETF snapshots, should give you a picture of whether or not you like one or the other, and how that fits within the rest of your portfolio, ETFs and other assets. So yeah, that's it. Hopefully you found this interesting. And if you have, please do like, share, and subscribe. We hope to hear from you soon. Take care.